Early in 1851, during the frenzy of the California gold rush, an armed group of white men was scouring the western slopes of the Sierra Nevada, searching for Indians, intent on driving them from their homeland. They called themselves the Mariposa Battalion, and late on the afternoon of March 27th, they came to a narrow valley lined by towering granite cliffs, where a series of waterfalls dropped thousands of feet to reach the Merced River on the valley's floor. One of the men, a young doctor named Lafayette Bonnell, stood there, transfixed.
As I looked, a peculiar, exalted sensation seemed to fill my whole being, and I found my eyes in tears with emotion. I said with some enthusiasm, "I have here seen the power and glory of a supreme being. The majesty of his handiwork is in that testimony of the rocks."
Bonnell's enchantment with the scenery was not shared by the rest of the Mariposa Battalion, who busied themselves setting fire to any Indian homes they found. Before the battalion moved on, Bonnell convinced the others that, as the first white men ever to enter the valley, they should give it a name. He suggested Yosemite because he thought that was the name of the tribe they had come to dispossess. Later, scholars would learn that the people living in the valley called it Awani, meaning the place of a gaping mouth, and they called themselves the Awanichi. Yosemite, it was learned, meant something entirely different. In the native language, Yosemite refers to people who should be feared. It means they are killers. 4 years later, in 1855, a second group of white people entered Yosemite Valley. This time as tourists, not Indian fighters. They were led by James Mason Hutchings, an energetic Englishman who had failed miserably as a prospector during the gold rush. Now he hoped to make a fortune by promoting California's scenic wonders through an illustrated magazine. When a report about the Indian campaign in the Sierras mentioned a waterfall more than 1,000 feet high, Hutchings rushed to see it for himself. Word and images of Yosemite quickly spread. Other tourists began showing up to witness its beauty firsthand. The trip required a 2-day journey from San Francisco to the nearest town. And then, with no wagon road into the valley, a grueling 3-day trek by foot or horseback, up and down steep mountainsides on narrow, rocky paths. But for most, the scenic reward was worth the hardship. Looking at the majestic cathedral rocks and cathedral spires, wrote a Massachusetts newspaperman, made it easy to imagine that you are under the ruins of an old Gothic cathedral, to which those of Cologne and Milan are but baby houses. Upon seeing Yosemite Falls, the highest free-leaping waterfall on the continent, another visitor began quoting the Bible. "Now let me die," he told his companions, "for I am happy." 15 miles south of Yosemite Valley, the Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias contains the largest living things on Earth, trees nearly 3,000 years old. When Horace Greeley, editor of the New York Tribune, saw them, he boasted to his readers that they were of substantial size when David danced before the ark. Soon the celebrated painter Albert Bierstadt arrived and produced a series of masterpieces. One of them would command a price of $25,000, equal to the highest amount ever paid for an American work of art. While Bierstadt painted, his friend Fitzhugh Ludlow wrote dispatches that appeared in the Atlantic Monthly, the nation's most prestigious magazine.
We did not so much seem to be seeing from that crag of vision a new scene on the old familiar globe as a new heaven and a new earth into which the creative spirit had just been breathed. I hesitate now, as I did then, at the attempt to give my vision utterance. Never were words as beggared for an abridged translation of any scripture of nature.
Jefferson looked across America from the portico at Monticello, and he saw wilderness all the way out. So he couldn't conceive of a national park because